is starving and graduated from Dartmouth.
Don't you think, wouldn't it maybe be better of her to get, a job and get corporately recruited so she could be able to feed herself and not starve? Do you think that would be a worse choice?
I mean, in May of last year, the Dartmouth had it on their front page. Only 25% of seniors at that point had jobs. So I don't think that it would, like whether or not your question, maybe, I don't think your question is actually valid, because I'm sure a great percentage of those seniors wanted those nice corporate jobs, but it's not a matter of if they just went after the jobs they could. It's really a matter of if you find enough hours at the part-time jobs you can find at hourly wages that are worth almost nothing, then people assume at this point it's almost a foregone conclusion that either you're working for one of 4 industries or you're gonna be living with your parents. That's it. That's our
tutoring
generation.
SATs.
Yeah, that's our generation.
I think we understand that corporate recruiting is a struggle.
Yeah.
People fight really hard to get those jobs. Right? They don't get interviews with all of the places they apply to. Then you have to go through all the rounds. So it's actually a very challenging process. And
it's going to be
that doesn't mean that it
fine
enables
for people
everyone.
Yeah.
So the thing is, one, that doesn't mean that everyone is enabled to go and get a corporate job. But 2, once you get that job, what a lot of people have said to us is, well, why don't you go join the 1% and then change the system? We don't think, or at least I'm very skeptical of the claim that once you, become wealthy, then you can change the system. Or that once you're running the system, then you can change it. I think it's the nature of the beast that they're more or less self-regulating, and that the people who run them even become very competent at running them, but that doesn't mean that they're empowered to change them. And so change often comes from the outside. In this case, I think change has to come from the outside.
I think it's a fantastic. I'm all for humanist philanthropists. I really am thankful for all of them. But I think it's kind of ludicrous to look at a look at a mass of people and say, okay, all you have to do, all of you who want the same thing, the only option you have is to go out and make beat every odd that there is, become a billionaire, and then you can have one say in a group of 500 people who are going to be voting again, who think the opposite thing that you do. Just so that you can, I don't think it's a reasonable reply or expectation.
Can you guys I think those are most of my questions, but I'd really like, some anecdotes. What would you say is the worst thing that someone has said to you or done when you guys have been out here?
Well, I think the worst thing is also my favorite thing, which is occupy my asshole.
That's not the worst. Someone has choked an occupier physically.
Oh, wow.
That happened very early on, and he came back and apologized later because he was very drunk.
But that also wasn't really political.
No, it wasn't political, but that was pretty bad.
It was whatever.
He was reacting to the space.
I think
he wouldn't have done that if you guys hadn't been.
Exactly.
I think the hardest thing for me has been
although I think he is a violent
I know
person.
and that I've known for years kind of walk by and be with mocking and cruel condescension. So things along the lines of an old friend screaming you know what, kind of drunk, you know what, I'm gonna work at Wall Street next year and I'm gonna love my taxpayer bonus. Or things like people screaming at us, I love my privilege, you love your privilege. And it's completely antithetical to the type of discourse we want to have here. And it makes you lose a little bit of faith in terms of the empathy of other human beings for human beings. To be so aggressively pro inequality, to essentially say that you're pro inequality and sort of mean it. Appear to
really
mean it. Yeah, really mean it. It's just it's not something that we really expect out of people who have such a long time ahead of them in the world.
Okay.
We've had people kick down our signs. Oh, cool.
Where do we put it?
I guess put in the tent.
Yeah, talk to Anna. She's got the financial
In my opinion, actually, the worst people are those who come by and they say, so what do you want? And then we explain to them why we're here, and they pretend like they're listening, but really they don't care. and they just keep on saying,
the same
yeah,
question.
yeah, sure, but what do you guys want to do about it? And they don't take serious...
But what would you do if you were president?
Right, what would you do if
But
you were
like,
president?
what real
what are
policy are you going to offer, you know?
And so what they do is they just...
Over and over.
Right, they dismiss all of our claims.
Yeah.
They think that in order to be saying something meaningful, we have to be demanding a particular policy change.
Okay.
My most negative experience here, I think, was the Friday of homecoming when a drunk 11 recent graduate Theta Adult brother came and you know, started asking questions in a very aggressive fashion, sort of not listening to the answers, repeating the same questions over and over again, waffling back and forth on what he was saying, but doing it determinedly, and basically ultimately he said, you know what, I'm going to stay here all night. And he stayed here for 2.5 hours, sort of repeating the same questions over and over, not listening to the answers. And by after the first hour, it wasn't even questions anymore. It was just sort of heckling and criticism. I tried to engage in dialogue with him multiple times. It all degraded, and you know, at one point I apologized to him. I was like, you know what, like, I've tried to talk to you, like, I'm really sorry about this, and he started attacking me, and so I said, you know what, I'm not even going to say anything to you anymore. You clearly are not going to engage me in dialogue. I sat down and took a vow of silence, and he spent 30 minutes just calling me a hypocrite, telling me what I was doing was a waste of time, saying that we're stupid, saying that we're wasting our education, just all of this really hateful speak, just directed straight at me for not speaking to him, you know? And he stood there until I think his girlfriend showed up and he left, you know, and that was, you know, that hurt, and I'm stronger because of it, and now I can handle that sort of intolerant aggression a lot better. But you know, I think that a few of us have had some experiences that were really emotionally taxing, of people just sort of not listening and being very aggressive and talking as if they were being totally reasonable, and that's what kills me, is like they sort of say, but you're not saying anything, they're sort of acute, you know, and I think this is really common, that people actually, whatever they fear is true about themselves, they accuse us of doing it. So people that are living hypocritical lifestyles love to call us hypocrites. People who feel like they can't do anything to change the world like to tell us we can't do anything to change the world, you know? Okay. And I think that's really common, and you know, and people who feel like they can't say anything like to kick down the signs because they want us to not be able to say anything, and so they're trying to shut down our ability to speak, you know?
2 doctors who said they work at DHMC came by last night, I think, or 2 nights ago, and told us that we must be here just because we hate our parents, and that we should leave because we're harassing the community with our presence.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Here, wait, let me just finish. Here are the harassing the community, or just
no, harassing. I said to them, why did you come here to harass us? And they said, you're harassing us. You're harassing the community by being here.
I think that